It's still December 13th. I just finished cooking and meal prepping. So I went for a walk today, and I I was standing in the post office line, and for whatever reason I thought about my mom. I was thinking about my mom, and the first time that I had heard her laugh, like really, it was just a different vibe from her. She had already been separated from my dad, and I remember it was me and my friend T and her mom, and it was like a mother-daughter thing that we were doing, and I think we were at like a cheesecake factory or something like that. We were in our 20s. And I remember I had already kept my distance from my mom for a while because we kept clashing. And I just remember staring at her as she interacted with her friend, and this is a childhood friend, and they were best friends, and we had grown up best friends for a while, and life happens, we couldn't separate. But I remember she laughed in a way that I had never heard her laugh before. And I was just in awe of and that realization in that moment of I've never seen my mom like this before. I remember she was really rigid and cold with us growing up, not realizing, of course, right, the environment that she was in, the relationship that she was in, and she was trying to survive. Really, she was just trying to survive and keep us alive, right? That was one thing my mom was always really good at, is she emotionally, she may not have been available for us in that nurturing way when we were younger, but in terms of our physical needs, she was on it. In terms of, you're sick, here you go, you need this, here you go, food on the table, right, clothes clean, in terms of that stuff, we could always count on my mom. But emotionally, because she was going through her own stuff, right? She was trying to keep it together. She was trying to keep her shit together. So there was really none to give. But I remember being in awe of her, and this different energy that she was giving off. She went to the restroom, and her friend stayed behind, and I told her friend, I was like, I've never heard my mom. I've never seen my mom like this. And her friend said to me, this is how your mom really is, she said. This is her, the real her. It's just that she wasn't given the opportunity to show that at home because of the situation. Wow. I was blown away. I was blown away. My mom's a Gemini. Gemini sun also. And I just remember, once she said, I think I was 15, was I 15? No, I wasn't 15. I remember she told me her story when I was 15, because that's when I found out. That's when I found out there was a discrepancy. There's a discrepancy in my my time of birth, my time frame of birth, and then when they got married. And I was 15 when I noticed. I was like, what? I'm like, I know I wasn't a preemie. And then the truth came out because I caught her in it, and she shared her story with me, and I was just like, wow, well, one, thank you for being honest about it, right? Not lying about it. I remember she was in shock when I found out. And I'm like, I wasn't no preemie. When I was 15 when I found out. And but I remember we had a conversation afterwards where she said, I felt like my wings were clipped, is what the way she described it. My wings were clipped when I got married. She's like, I couldn't fly. I was told I could study, I was told I could do all this, and then everything was taken away. She's like, my wings were clipped. And I think she's still in that process of trying to fly again, right? Trying to reconnect with herself, trust herself enough to be able to fly again. And you know, there's society expectations, religious expectations of how we're supposed to live our life. But she's still there. And so the reason why there was this, she's been in my mind. So yesterday when I was talking to my sister, so I confirmed my plans to go home for the holidays. And even though I'm not going to be able to go to my aunt's event this Saturday, I confirmed plans to go on Christmas Day to do like a day trip to TJ just to see her one more time, my aunt. Anticipating, right? I mean, having all these dreams, and if things are unfolding as they are, that dream is scheduled to post after the new year sometime, right? And so I asked my sister, I said, how are you going? Because she's always been weary about going to TJ. Because she doesn't, I go on my own all the time, and everyone's like freaking out, like, you're going your own? I'm like, yeah, it's cake for me, right? No, not big, it's no big deal. But I asked her, I was just like, hey, are you going? And she said, yeah. I said, that's good, I'm glad you're going. I know they would be happy to see her. And then she said something to me. Oh gosh, what did she say? The point being, I was talking about death, and I spoke about it very lightly. And I gotta remember to mind my words. Be mindful of what I say, when I say it, how I say it, and with whom I'm saying it to, right? If this person is very sensitive. And it really, I mean, she's just fearful of death, my sister. And for me, like, I have found this resolution of what death means for me now. And there's no more fear about it. At all, really. And so I made a blunt comment. And she says, okay, little Nelly. Just started laughing. So we call my mom. We call her Mama Nelly. That's not her name, but that's what we call her. So she just, okay, little Nelly. Because I know my mom can be really blunt. My mom can be really blunt, but like slicing blunt, right? Like cold blunt. So she told me, like, oh snap. Like, okay, yeah, that was a little blunt. I'm like, I'm sorry, that's not what I meant, but and so it's real, and she's just like, you're just like my mom. You're not considerate of other people's feelings. And I'm just like, whoa. I was like, I used to be very considerate of other people's feelings. And she's like, yeah, when I was younger you were, but now you're not. You're just like her. And I'm like, that's why we clash all the time, right? It's just the way she says, she's like, okay, little Nelly. Not realizing right there. My mom and I are very much alike. We are, right? This need to fly, this need to be on our own. And so few stories. Little Nelly. So why we call my mom Mama Nelly. When my sister got pregnant, she was 21. My mom flipped. Like I mean, as it was, the family was struggling with my parents' separation at that time. My sister was going down this self-destructive path almost. She was trying to find her way. But there was an element of self-destructiveness because of just some of the behavior she was doing, and everyone was worried about her. And I was very, like, just trying to, like, I was hardly home because, by that time I was hardly home because I was going to school and working so many jobs. But I remember when she got pregnant, I had just gotten married because she came over later that month after I got married, and she told me the news. And my mom was so pissed. She was so pissed, to the point of, like, disowning my sister. where they lived together, but she was so cold and just very rigid. Like, you couldn't approach my mom. Like, she just gave off this energy of like, just stay behind, just stay away. And so she wasn't emotionally available for my sister. So being the older sister, I stepped in. So that's when I realized, I was like, oh dang, I was triangulated there too. I was triangulated there too. And so being more sensitive than I was then, I was more attentive to my sister's emotional needs. And my mom made it clear. She's like, this baby ain't gonna call me grandma. She doesn't remember this story. Because I told her, I think I mentioned it when she's like, that's not true. I'm like, yeah, it is. And she was adamant that she was, and she made it seem like my sister was like 15, but I think it's because of the way my sister was acting, even though she was really 21. And so my mom was just straight out like, this baby is not gonna call me grandma. I ain't a grandma right now. Like, I think there was that, now that I think about it, she was trying to find her own independence, right? It's just, my mom was young then, and so you know, she's like, I'm too young to be a grandma, and so she's like, this baby's gonna call me Mama Nelly. so that's how we call her, like, Mama Nelly, where you at, Mama Nelly? And so it's just funny that my sister yesterday was just like, okay, little Nelly. So I was thinking about it this morning, and remembering, like, that memory came to me. I was like, oh dang, like, I remember the first time that I saw my mom laugh in a certain way. And then it reminded me of when I went to my in-laws the last time I was there. I laughed, like, there was a, like I'm different, like, you know, people tell me that I'm different, but my in-laws looked at me in a way that they hadn't looked at me before when I laughed. And they were kind of like surprised. There was like, I could feel it, that they were surprised, and I was chuckling, but they were looking at me like I don't think they had heard me laugh like that before. And then I thought about it some more too. Just, I mean, I laughed, like, you know, my ex and I, we had good time. I remember having a good time, like good crying, like old man laughing moments. Where it was just so funny that, like, tears were coming out. I couldn't breathe, and I was like, you know, like the old person laughs, like, like that. Like that. It was funny. We had good laughs. We had good laughs. But I think I think a lot of it is this joyfulness with life. I think is the shift, because I didn't feel like this more days than not. I really didn't. I was extremely stressed out all the time, and because I wasn't balanced too. But anyways, I was just thinking about my mom and her laugh when I heard her laugh for the first time. And it wasn't the first time. I had heard her laugh before, but this was a different laugh. Like, it was just a different energy that she was putting off. And then it just, you know, the little stories just start getting triggered. And I was just thinking about that. And then now, so my mom likes to travel, right? And when she can, she will. And so I mentioned I have, we have, my ex and I have a timeshare, and for one of her birthdays, I had promised her a trip. You know, I was just gonna pay the difference, and so she finally took this trip to Florida last month. And I had told her, like, when I was helping her plan, I was like, Mom, do you want me to help you do this? Oh, no, I figure it out when I get there. Okay. Para que no digas que no ofrecí, right? So she's not planning. She's not thinking about it. I was having a conversation with my friend, my B, and she was my mom happened to be traveling with her mom. So my baby's complaining to me. She's like, you know what our moms did? Da-da! Because she's an only child. She just said, she said, did you know that they caught a ticket while they were over there? I was like, oh yeah, I heard about that. And she's like, did you know that they're calling me to get it taken care of? And I'm just like, I wasn't even there. Where? She's like, I couldn't say that to them. So anyways, this is just funny because I had told her before this trip. My mom had gone to New York with the same friend. Surprise, like it was a last minute, like she did it sneakily. Only my B knew. And she told me about it. And I was grateful. I was like, oh, awesome, Mom. Good job for like, you know, trying to make your way. I remember my sister flipped. And I'm telling my sister, I'm like, leave my mom alone. Like, she's an independent woman. Like, leave her alone. Let her venture herself, right? Let her figure it out. But it's funny because they know they can go to my friend for help. I've already made my boundary clear with my mom. You want to travel? You want to be independent? Go right ahead. Be independent, right? I'll help you, you know, when I can. And if I offer and you say no, I ain't gonna be messing with that, right? I'm gonna honor your decision. So my mom knows. When I can help, I help. When I can't, I'm not going to help. So what does she do? She goes around and she goes and tells my friend, oh, fíjate esto, could you help me with this? So I had warned my friend. I had warned her. I had warned her after the last trip. I said, be careful. I said, be careful. Because if you don't watch your boundaries, they're going to keep coming to you. And it's not fair because you're not there. You don't know what happened. Like, they need to figure it out. If they want to be traveling, they're the ones that are there. They need to figure it out. And I told her, I'm like, my mom is a freaking smart woman. Like, she's smart. She's sharp. I said, and I told her, a veces se hace, you know, like, not just teasing. Like, I know sometimes there's that insecurity that my mom has. My mom speaks very well English. Like, she knows. She did it before when we were younger. She found a way. My mom can find a way. She's just forgotten. She's forgotten how to trust herself, right? How to do what it takes. She does it in other areas, but then there's other areas that she gets uncomfortable. I don't know what it is that holds her back. But I told my friend, like, be careful. Be careful. And so when they went to Florida, the same thing. The same thing. That, my friend calls me, she's like, you'll never guess what happened. I'm like, what happened? She's like, you know, they that ticket thing, they're calling me, and I'm trying to help them, right? She's just like, and then your mom starts telling me something else about Google. Google gave her a credit for something she doesn't know for what. And then she's asking me, I'm like, what did I tell you? What did I tell you? And she's like, you were so right. I'm like, so she's like, I told her, I'm like, I don't know about that. You need to figure that out for yourself. But she's just like, I just feel bad because she's, you know, she's an only child. She has her mom. It's just her and her mom. So she does a lot for her mom. I'm like, I get it. I'm like, and her mom is like 20 plus years older than my mom. So her mom's like in her 80s, I think, in the 80s. My mom is in her 60s, but my mom's freaking sharp. Like, she's a freaking intelligent woman and a strong woman. And so I told her, I'm like, my mom can still do it. Like, I know my mom. She's sharp. She's a sharp cookie. And, she just told me this story a couple days ago, and I'm just busting up laughing. But, you know, it's just that independence, right? It's that there's this element of, like, you want to be independent? Great. And then I think about teenagers. Who are wanting to be independent, right? And then the circle, how it kind of goes back to, you often see it with adult parents, right? They get more stubborn. They don't want to listen to advice, right? Because they feel like their autonomy is taken away. And to a certain degree, for a lot of older adults, it does happen because of health complications. I was thinking about my dad too this week, and I checked in with him. I had checked in with someone else about their dad this week too, and then I thought about my dad, and my dad has a lot of health issues and complications, and I don't talk about it much, but it's bad, and in terms of just the number, it's a long list of health issues and complications over the years. And you look at him, and he looks so much more older. He just looks older, much older than his stated age, because of the stress, because of the complications, because of poor life choices as well. And just injuries that he's endured over the years. So it's just a lot of complications. But there's still this element of seeking independence. My dad was very mobile. He was like a gypsy, going everywhere. And now that his mobility is compromised and his eyesight is there's just so many things that are making it that much more difficult to gain a sense of independence. So it makes sense, as this cycle continues and life cycle, right? That they seem like teenagers, stubborn, but they're just trying to exert their independence, their sense of self, right? And then when you give it to them, but then they're just funny, because then they come running back like, what do I do here? What do I do there? Like, pues quieres ser adulto o qué? You want to be an independent adult or what? So it's just funny. It's funny to me to see it play out. And then getting to that point of I know my mom and my sister are still, because they live together, there's still this dynamic where my sister is she's like, I still need my mom, and just very much controlling of my mom. And I'm like, okay, well, great, I'm okay. But just thinking about that, respecting their decisions as they get older, and because they're human too, and even though they make poor choices that you don't agree with, it's their choice, it's their journey, right? Just like it is for us. For each generation, once you create life, right, it has its own journey, it has its own course, its own life lessons, its own adventures, its own purpose. And all you can do is honor them by allowing them to make their choices, even if it's choices that you aren't in agreement with, or are worried. They need to figure it out themselves. That's their human right. Their human right. So I was just thinking about them, really, with the holidays coming up. But, okay, that's it. I need to get back to work. So that's all. Bye. Hi, my name is Yubi, and in case you haven't figured it out, this footage is capturing my experience as I learn to navigate my personal spiritual awakening. I am learning that this experience is unique to each one of us, in whatever way we believe we are embracing living our truth. This just happens to be my journey. And despite me having a graduate degree and a license in clinical social work, this by no means is intended to replace any type of mental health advice. This is just me on a personal level, documenting my experience, shedding light on the truth that I am learning and discovering for myself, and really inviting you along for the ride. If by some magical chance you find this content to be helpful in any way, shape, or form, please click the like button, share the message, subscribe to my YouTube channel. I have an Instagram account, a personal one, and one specifically for this channel that you're more than welcome to check out. I'm an open book. I have also created t-shirt designs. I'm wearing my favorite one right now, which is the North Node. design, but I have that and other things that you can look at inspired by this process and journey, and I have the link in the description box as well as in the about section of my YouTube channel. So you're more than welcome to check those items out. Any type of support is great. Again, if you find this content really helpful or meaningful, sometimes when we take that step and be vulnerable, with showing what's inside our hearts and what's really our truth, we realize that we're much more connected than what we thought we were. And so I hope that as I'm living this experience and that you find some type of truth for yourself, or find some type of ability to heal in some way just by relating, just by knowing that you're not alone. That really has been my goal with this process, not just being able to connect with others, but really for my own healing. It's definitely been a therapeutic experience and a very creative one for myself. So I thank you, and